You are standing on a line that most people never notice until it is already behind them, and right now that line has a number written on it, 2025, and once you cross it, there is no rewind, no apology, no explanation that time will accept, because time does not negotiate, it only moves, and the reason this moment feels heavy is because deep down you already know something uncomfortable. You know that if nothing changes, then the year changing will not save you, so listen carefully, because this is not motivation, this is a warning disguised as truth. Most people think a year ends quietly, but it doesn't, it ends violently, it cuts possibilities without making a sound, and when 2026 arrives, it will not ask you what happened in 2025, it will only show you the results, the empty hands or the full ones, the regret or the relief. And right now you are standing between those two versions of yourself, one reaching back, one walking forward, and the only difference between them is a decision you have not made yet. People love to say they tried in 2025, but trying without direction is just another way of staying still. Days passed, weeks disappeared, and months collapsed into excuses, not because you are lazy, but because you were distracted, comforted by the lie that there is always more time, but time is not a bank, it does not give loans, it only charges interest, and the interest is regret. So if 2025 feels like it slipped through your fingers, that is because it did. And the worst part is not failure, the worst part is realizing that you failed quietly, without resistance, without a fight, and now the year is ending the same way it began, with potential you did not touch, and dreams you postponed again, and as you look forward to 2026, your mind is asking a dangerous question: what if I end up the same? What if this line I am standing on leads nowhere? What if I am not built for change? And that question is exactly why most people stay stuck, because they confuse fear with reality, but fear is not a prediction, it is a test, and 2026 is not another calendar year, it is a verdict. It will expose whether you learned anything from being broke, tired, dependent, and ashamed of your own reflection, because the world does not reward intentions, it rewards movement, and right now you are either preparing to move, or preparing another excuse that will sound convincing only to you. Here is the part nobody tells you: money does not come to those who need it the most, it comes to those who become someone different, and that is why 2026 scares people, because it demands transformation, not hope. In 2025 you waited for motivation, in 2026 motivation will not wait for you, it will pass you by, because motivation follows action, not the other way around, and the people who will win in 2026 are not smarter, luckier, or more talented, they are simply more brutal with their time, they cut distractions without mercy, they stop negotiating with comfort, and they accepted one hard truth: nobody is coming to save them, not the government, not relatives, not viral luck, and certainly not another year, and that acceptance is painful, but powerful, because once you accept that your situation is your responsibility, control returns to your hands, and this is where the split happens. One version of you keeps reaching back, replaying 2025 in their head, wishing for a different outcome, while the other version turns forward, carrying responsibility like a weight, but also like a weapon, because responsibility gives you leverage, it forces you to ask better questions, not how do I get rich fast, but how do I become valuable, how do I solve problems people already pay for, how do I turn skills into income instead of scrolling into frustration. 2026 will reward clarity, not chaos, it will reward consistency, not bursts of energy followed by weeks of silence, and most importantly, it will reward patience with pain, because the beginning of earning always feels like losing. You work without results, you show up without applause, and you feel invisible, but invisibility is the price of entry, and most people quit there. They call it realism, but it is fear wearing a suit, and if you carry the habits of 2025 into 2026, then do not blame the year when nothing changes, blame the version of yourself that refused to evolve. Because the line you are standing on is not between 2 years, it is between 2 identities. This is where the decision becomes irreversible, because once 2026 starts moving, it will not slow down for your confusion, and you will either be chasing it, or being dragged by it, and the difference will show in your bank balance, your confidence, and the way people look at you, especially the people you want to protect, your parents, your family, the ones who silently hope you will become stronger, even if they never say it out loud. And that is why this moment matters, because money is not just Money, it is freedom from humiliation, freedom from asking, freedom from feeling small, and 2026 has the potential to give you that, but only if you stop treating time like entertainment and start treating it like a mission, because the people who will succeed are already planning while others are still celebrating the new year, they are building skills while others are making resolutions, and they are moving silently while others are announcing dreams they will never chase. So when you imagine the end of 2026, do not imagine motivation, imagine evidence, money earned, skills sharpened, discipline proven, because evidence is what silences doubt, and right now the only thing standing between you and that evidence is a choice you are delaying. But time does not wait for readiness, it only responds to courage, and if you are still listening, that means some part of you already knows, 2025 is gone. But 2026 is watching, and it will remember exactly what you did when it gave you a chance. And this is where the lie finally collapses, because when the year changes and nothing inside you does, the silence becomes unbearable, and you start noticing things you ignored before, the way days feel shorter, the way money feels heavier, the way dependence feels humiliating even when nobody says anything, and this is the moment most people try to escape. They distract themselves, they scroll, they blame the system, they wait for motivation like it is a permission slip, but motivation never comes to people who are hiding, it comes to people who are already moving, and that is the cruel irony of change. You do not feel ready before you start, you feel ready only after you survive discomfort long enough to prove to yourself that you are capable, and this is why 2026 is not a fresh start for everyone, it is a mirror, it reflects discipline or the lack of it, courage or avoidance. And the people who feel the most pain in this phase are not the failures, they are the ones who almost tried, the ones who knew what to do but delayed it one more week, one more month, until time quietly closed the gap, and now standing here, you can feel the weight of that delay pressing on your chest, because you realize something dangerous, nobody stopped you except you, and that realization hurts more than poverty, more than exhaustion, more than being behind, because it means the responsibility is yours now, fully, and responsibility is heavy, but it is also power, because the moment you accept it, excuses lose their grip, and the future stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that responds to you. Once responsibility settles in, something subtle but irreversible happens, the noise around you starts losing power, excuses sound childish, distractions feel empty, and for the first time the future stops looking like a vague hope and starts looking like a demanding presence, watching, waiting, measuring, and this is where most people hesitate again, because taking responsibility means there is no one left to blame if things go wrong, but it also means there is finally someone in control, and that control feels unfamiliar at first, uncomfortable, almost dangerous, because it forces you to confront how much time you truly have and how little margin for error remains, and 2026 does not give second warnings, it moves fast, faster than motivation, faster than fear, and if you do not move with it, it will drag you instead, turning days into pressure and months into panic, and this is why the people who change do not suddenly become confident, they become committed, they stop asking how long it will take and start asking what must be sacrificed, because progress always demands payment up front, in discipline, in boredom, in loneliness, in showing up when nothing is happening, and this is the stage where quitting feels logical, where results are invisible and effort feels wasted, but that invisibility is the test, because transformation is quiet. At first, it happens internally before it ever shows externally, and the ones who survive this phase are not fueled by inspiration, they are fueled by identity, by the decision that going back is no longer an option, and standing here now, you can sense it, the line behind you fading, the path ahead narrowing, because 2026 is no longer a possibility, it is a direction, and every step you take or refuse to take is locking you deeper into the version of yourself you will be forced to live with. And this is where everything finally becomes clear, not easy, not comfortable, but clear, because by now you understand that 2026 is not a gift, it is a test of character, a slow examination that happens every single day when nobody is watching, and the outcome will not be announced loudly, it will reveal itself quietly in your life, in whether you can pay without hesitation, in whether you can stand without apology, in whether you can look at your parents without the weight of unspoken disappointment, and this is why the choice you made at the beginning of this year matters more than any motivation you felt in the middle of it, because motivation fades, but systems remain, habits remain, identity remains, and the people who will succeed by the end of 2026 are not the ones who felt inspired, they are the ones who refused to break their own promises when it got boring, lonely, and painfully slow. They learned to work without validation, to wait without panic, to grow without announcing it, and that quiet discipline compounds into something powerful, something undeniable, and if you listen closely now, you can almost hear it, the noise of doubt fading, the excuses losing their grip, the old version of you becoming irrelevant, because once you commit fully, half effort becomes impossible, and standing here at the end of this story, you should not feel hype, you should feel resolve. The kind that does not shout but moves forward anyway, because 2025 is gone, 2026 is already counting, and whether this year changes your life or exposes you again will depend on what you do after this moment ends, when the video stops, when the screen goes dark, and you are left alone with the one person who will live with the consequences of your decision, yourself.